So, I have a child that has special needs medically. That's the best way I can put it. Medically, she has special needs. So, we go see a doctor quite often. And it always seems that when you give the nurse the information that you know, they do not believe you. Maybe their temperature is different than what you had at home to what they have at the office, and they'll say, oh, well, your thermometer is probably reading, whatever it's reading. Oh, I bet they had a warm coat on when you took this. There's no way she's running a fever. Her temperature right now is 98.6. Okay, I understand what your equipment is telling me. I understand what your equipment is telling you. But please take in account what I'm telling you. Now, very, very, very rarely do I divulge that I'm a nurse. I decide not to tell the nursing staff. I let them explain to me why my equipment is wrong. And this always upsets my wife. She gets very angry at this. For instance, my daughter's pulse ox was different at the house than it was in the office. We have a pulse ox at the house and we can measure that. And the nurse just kind of wrote it off. There's no way that your daughter's pulse ox is 88 because here it's 92. Whatever. Okay, so how do you fix this problem? Number one, nurses, treat your patients like people. I remember hearing plenty of times when I would follow a nurse or, other things, man, I can't stand that nurse. And I would think, that nurse is a good person. Why can't you stand that nurse? Probably because they talk to them like these nurses are talking to me and my family. And I can definitely see how that can give nurses a bad rap. So, number one, treat your patient like a person. Do you want someone telling you that you're a liar? I don't. My wife doesn't. Does that nurse want to be called a liar? Probably not. So, number one, treat your patient like a person. Number two, there's something that I hope that you learned about called subjective and objective data. Subjective data are things that cannot really be proven. So, if I come to you and I'm there for an appointment for my daughter, and I say, at the house, my daughter had a temperature of 103. You will simply write down either subjective data, temp stated 103 at home. Pretty easy. Objective data is what you can prove. In office, temp 98.6. Simple enough. Subjective, knowns but not provens, or, call it patient states. Subjectives, patient states. I can't prove that it was 103 because I wasn't there. Okay, patient states, temperature was 103. Objective, what you can prove, in office, temperature 98.6. Be sure to get the whole picture. If I come to you and I tell you my daughter had a temperature of 103 and a pulse ox of 86, notify that in your charting to the doctor. Don't just say, let me cross the road here. Don't just say temp 98.6, pulse ox 92. No, be sure to get the whole picture, subjective and objective data. There are some things you can't prove. Now, pain, for some reason, is objective. I never really understood why pain is objective, because you can't really prove it. But the thing is, pain is whatever the patient says it is, so I guess that's the proof of it. So pain is objective. But if I tell you my pain is a 10, and I just laughed at the joke that you told me, don't say patient's pain is not 10. No, you still have to say patient's pain is 10. I mean, it's what you have to do. Get the whole picture and actually listen to your patients or their families. You know, in my case, it's my daughter, so listen to their parents. You know, don't just doubt them as soon as you can. Don't just say, oh, this patient's wrong. This patient doesn't know what they're talking about. Actually listen to them. Now, the doctors that I've come in contact with, I love them. They actually listen. I just wish the nurses would. So I can definitely see how nurses can get a bad reputation for not listening. I hope it helps. Thank you much.